Philadelphia, a city of brotherly love and cheesesteaks. But nestled in the heart of the city was a place where love was a distant rumor, and the only things pungent were the aromas of cardamom, turmeric, and fiery chili powder. This was Spice Lane. Here, amidst the cacophony of bartering and the intoxicating scent of 1,000 spices, stood two rivals, Solus and Jamila. Their stalls faced each other, a testament to years of unspoken animosity. Solus, a man weathered by time and temperament, ran his stall with gruff efficiency. His spices, though potent, seemed to reflect his personality, rough-hewn, strong, and unforgiving. Across the narrow lane was Jamila's stall, a kaleidoscope of colors and aromas. Her stall was a testament to her meticulous nature. The rivalry between Solus and Jamila was as old as Spice Lane itself. The rivalry wasn't just about business, it was personal, deeply personal. It was rooted in generations of familial discord, a feud passed down like a cherished recipe. Their grandfathers had been rivals, their fathers had been rivals, and now Solus and Jamila carried the torch, or rather the pestle and mortar, of this bitter inheritance. Their feud was a constant source of gossip and speculation in the marketplace. People took sides, placing bets on whose ginger was spicier or whose saffron more potent. The tension was palpable, a thick, invisible smoke that hung between their stalls. But beneath the animosity, a grudging respect simmered. They were, after all, masters of their craft. Solus, with his gruff demeanor, possessed an uncanny ability to source the rarest peppers. Jamila, with her quiet strength, had a gift for blending spices, creating symphonies of flavor that danced on the palate. And then there was the incident with the cardamom. The afternoon sun beat down on Spice Lane, turning the air thick and hazy. It was the kind of heat that made tempers flare, like chili powder thrown onto hot coals. Solus, still smarting from his defeat over the cardamom, was in a particularly foul mood. He glared across the lane at Jamila's stall, where customers flocked like bees to honey. Her son, a bright young man named Khalil, was helping her, his laughter echoing through the marketplace. Jealousy, hot and acrid like mustard seed, burned in Solus's gut, and then, in a moment of unbridled rage, he snapped. He grabbed a handful of his hottest chili powder and flung it across the lane. A scream ripped through the air. It was Khalil, his hands flying to his eyes, writhing in agony as the burning spice seared his skin. The marketplace, a hive of activity moments before, fell silent. A collective gasp, like a gust of wind through dry leaves, swept over the crowd. All eyes turned to Solus, his hand still outstretched, the remnants of the red chili powder clinging to his fingers like bloodstains. Then came the whispers, hushed at first, then growing louder, angrier. The outrage was palpable, thick and suffocating like the smoke from a suddenly extinguished fire. Jamila rushed to her son's side, her heart a drumbeat of panic in her chest. His screams tore through her, each one a searing indictment of Solus's actions. The other merchants, their initial shock giving way to anger, converged on Solus, their voices a chorus of condemnation. Word of the attack spread through Spice Lane like wildfire, igniting the simmering tensions into a blaze of fury. News of the incident, carried on the winds of outrage, reached the ears of the Council of Elders. These were the keepers of the peace, the wise men and women who had seen generations come and go, their wisdom seasoned by time and experience. They convened at the heart of the marketplace, their faces etched with concern. The crowd parted respectfully, creating a circle around the elders. Jamila, holding a sobbing Khalil whose eyes were red and swollen, recounted the incident, her voice trembling with anger and grief. Witnesses stepped forward, their testimonies echoing the horror of the attack. Solus, his face pale and etched with regret, stood before the council. He tried to speak, to explain the red mist of anger that had descended upon him, but the words caught in his throat. The elders, their faces impassive, listened to all sides. The air crackled with anticipation as the elders prepared to deliver their verdict. The crowd, a sea of anxious faces, held their breath. This was no ordinary dispute. This was about more than just spices and rivalries. It was about right and wrong, about the very soul of their community. The eldest of the elders, a woman whose eyes held the wisdom of 1,000 seasons, spoke. Her voice, though frail, carried the weight of generations. Elder Solus, you have erred grievously. You allowed your anger to cloud your judgment, inflicting pain and suffering upon an innocent. Elder, we have deliberated and have reached a decision. In accordance with the ancient laws of our people, the principle of an eye for an eye shall be upheld. A collective gasp arose from the crowd. The principle of an eye for an eye, though rarely invoked, was deeply ingrained in their traditions. The crowd watched, a mixture of fascination and trepidation, as a table was brought forth and upon it various spices were laid out. There was chili, of course, its fiery redness a stark reminder of Solus's transgression. But there were other spices too, each more potent than the last. Black pepper, ginger, mustard seed, and a small, unassuming jar of something that made even Jamila gasp. It was a rare and dangerous spice, rumored to induce hallucinations and even blindness if ingested in large quantities. It was a punishment reserved for only the most grievous of offenses, a testament to the severity of Solus's crime. Solus stood frozen, his face ashen as the gravity of the sentence sank in. He had anticipated punishment, perhaps a fine or banishment from the marketplace. But this, the crowd, so vocal moments before, was now eerily silent. Even those who had condemned Solus's actions found themselves questioning the severity of the punishment. As the designated elder stepped forward, a hush fell over the marketplace. In his hand he held a small mortar and pestle, the tools of the trade transformed into instruments of punishment. He began to grind the spices, the rhythmic crushing of seeds filling the heavy silence. Jamila, clutching Khalil close, watched the proceedings, a maelstrom of emotions swirling within her. There was a sense of satisfaction, yes, a primal urge for retribution. But there was also a flicker of something else, a seed of doubt planted in the fertile ground of her anger. Was this what true justice looked like? Khalil, his eyes still red and swollen, peered out from behind his mother's embrace. He looked at Solus, his tormentor, and saw not a monster but a broken man. The aroma of the ground spices, pungent and unforgiving, filled the air. The punishment, carried out with somber ritual, left an indelible mark on Spice Lane. Solus, his spirit broken, disappeared from the marketplace, his stall remaining empty, a silent testament to his fall from grace. The vibrant tapestry of the marketplace seemed a little less colorful, the air thick with an unspoken unease. Jamila, though victorious, found no solace in Solus's suffering. The image of his haunted eyes, the smell of the punishment clinging to the air, haunted her waking hours. The cycle of rivalry, pain, and retribution had left its mark on them all, a bitter aftertaste lingering long after the spices had settled. The marketplace, once a symbol of community and shared prosperity, was now a battleground of whispers and wary glances. The events of that day rippled outward, dividing the city of brotherly love. Some lauded the Council of Elders for their decisive action, upholding the ancient laws and ensuring that justice was served. Others questioned the severity of the punishment, arguing that it did little to heal the wounds of the past but only served to deepen the divides within the community. The debate raged on, in coffee shops and living rooms, in the hallowed halls of academia and the bustling streets of the marketplace. It became a philosophical battleground, forcing people to confront their own beliefs about justice, revenge, and the very nature of forgiveness. And what of Khalil, the innocent caught in the crossfire of this bitter rivalry? His eyes, though healed, still held a shadow of that day, a constant reminder of the fragility of peace and the enduring consequences of unchecked anger.